Today we're at the Water Conservation Center that's north of Dumas, Texas, and we are at a variety trial that was planted on May the 25th. We are 9 days post-planting, and to date we have accumulated 56 growing degree days. Now, in past years we've talked a lot about growing degree days, and that is because cotton development is driven by heat. On average, it takes about 45 to 130 growing degree days from planting to stand establishment. And so we are starting to see these cotyledons as well as the stand become established. Of course, as we look at our stand, we still see that we have plants that are still germinating, and we have not seen the cotyledon leaves completely unfurl, but then we also have seedlings where our cotyledon leaves have unfurled. Of course, as we do look at these cotyledon leaves, we do see that many of the plants are chlorotic and the development is still very slow. And that is because we've had very cool, cloudy conditions. And while heat is important for cotton development, we also need solar radiation because the solar radiation drives the photosynthesis, which provides the energy for that plant to develop. As we look at the period since planting, we've actually only had one day where temperatures have reached 90 degrees. As a whole, temperatures have been in the 70s, so we've had very cool conditions during the day for our daytime high, and our evening lows have been in the low 50s, resulting in very few growing degree days accumulated per day, on average about 5 growing degree days or heat units for the last 5 days. So as we consider growing degree days or those daily heat units, we also consider the base temperature. And for cotton, that is 60 degrees. And that is because cotton development does not occur below 60 degrees. So when we are considering our recent temperatures that are in the 70s for the daily high, as well as those evening lows that are in the 50s, we have not had enough opportunity to collect sufficient growing degree days to really drive development at a quick rate. Of course, during this seedling development stage and early vegetative stage, root development is actually occurring at a fairly quick rate. Looking at plants, we see that the rooting of the primary root, which is our radicle or the taproot, is progressing fairly rapidly. Under ideal conditions, and especially under warm soil temperatures, this root can develop at a rate of anywhere from 1 to 2 inches per day. And during this early stage, it really is important under cool, cloudy conditions that we do evaluate roots if we have poor stands, because it is not uncommon to see root seedling diseases under cool, wet conditions, and especially when we have prolonged periods of wet soil. So during this early vegetative stage, it's not uncommon for fields in the Texas High Plains to have variable stands. Because of our cool temperatures, it's not uncommon to usually see a stable stand until almost 2 weeks after planting. As we look at cotton development, many producers do evaluate stands to determine ideal yields, and research has shown that under irrigated conditions that at least having 30,000 plants per acre can result in at least a 1,500 pound yield potential. However, that is going to vary depending on in-season cotton development. Now, looking at this seedling, we see that we have our cotyledon leaves that have still not unfurled. But of course, soon we will have a viable little seedling with 2 cotyledon leaves. As we look at our seedling, we have our cotyledon leaves, but in between the cotyledon leaves is also the terminal. And that terminal is very important because that is the point from which that plant is going to be growing. That's the point of cell division that's occurring very rapidly. We have many areas across the High Plains that have been affected by hail, and looking at those fields, there's many areas where there's only been 1 cotyledon leaf that has been lost, but as long as that terminal is not damaged, that plant will continue to grow from that terminal.